Mermaids have captivated human imagination for centuries. These mythical creatures, half human and half fish, swim through our stories and dreams. They appear in ancient myths, modern movies, and everything in between. But are mermaids real, or are they just figments of our collective imagination? This question has puzzled people for a long time. Some claim to have seen mermaids with their own eyes. Others dismiss such claims as pure fantasy. The debate continues to this day. It touches on science, mythology, and human psychology. In this essay, we'll dive deep into the world of mermaids. We'll explore historical accounts and scientific perspectives. We'll also look at myths and religious beliefs about these sea creatures. By the end, we might not have a definitive answer, but we'll have a better understanding of why mermaids fascinate us so much. Let's begin our journey into the mysterious realm of mermaids. We'll separate fact from fiction as best we can. We'll also try to understand why the idea of mermaids persists in our culture. So take a deep breath and get ready to plunge into the depths of this intriguing topic. Mermaids have been part of human folklore for thousands of years. The earliest known mermaid tales come from ancient Assyria. Around 1000 BCE, they told stories about the goddess Atargatis. She turned herself into a mermaid out of shame for accidentally killing her human lover. In ancient Greek mythology, we find similar creatures called sirens. These beings were often depicted as part woman, part bird. Over time, they evolved into the fish-tailed mermaids we know today. The Greeks believed sirens lured sailors to their doom with enchanting songs. Historian, media, various cultural mermaid representations montage. Other cultures have their own versions of mermaids. In China, there are stories of merfolk dating back to 2800 BCE. These creatures could shed tears that turned into pearls. In Japan, there's the Ningyo, a fish-like creature with a human face. Eating its flesh was said to grant immortality. Even in more recent history, mermaid tales persisted. Christopher Columbus reported seeing mermaids during his voyages to the Americas. Of course, we now know he was probably seeing manatees, but his accounts show how the belief in mermaids continued into the age of exploration. Throughout maritime history, sailors have reported mermaid sightings. These tales often spread quickly, becoming part of seafaring lore. In 1608, Henry Hudson's crew saw a mermaid off Nova Scotia. She had a speckled body and a porpoise-like tail. Columbus also noted mermaids, but they weren't beautiful. He likely saw manatees or dugongs. John Smith reported a mermaid in 1614. She had long green hair, swimming gracefully. Sightings continued into recent times. In 1967, ferry passengers in British Columbia saw a mermaid. From a scientific standpoint, there's no evidence that mermaids exist. The human body is not adapted for life in the water. Scientists point out that no mermaid bones or fossils have ever been found. If mermaids existed, we would expect to find physical evidence. Many scientists believe mermaid sightings can be explained by other phenomena, like manatees and dugongs resembling human forms. Section 5. Marine Biology: What lives in the deep? While mermaids may not exist, the oceans are home to many fascinating creatures.
Manatees and dugongs are often called sea cows. Their flippers can look like arms, and their tails might be mistaken for a fish-like lower body.
Seals and sea lions are another possibility. When they pop their heads above water, they can look surprisingly human-like. We've only explored a small fraction of the deep sea. In 2016, scientists found a ghost-like octopus at depths of over 4,000 meters. The oceans are vast and deep, hiding many secrets. But so far, those secrets don't include half-human, half-fish creatures. Section 6. Mythological mermaids: Cultural variations. Mermaid myths exist in cultures around the world. Each has its own unique take on these sea creatures.
In European folklore, mermaids are often beautiful women with fishtails. They're known for their enchanting songs that lure sailors to their doom. This image has become the most common representation of mermaids in Western culture.
In contrast, African folklore tells of Mami Wata. This water spirit can appear as a mermaid, a snake charmer, or both. Mami Wata is associated with healing, fertility, and prosperity. She's both revered and feared in many West African and Caribbean traditions.
In Slavic mythology, we find rusalkas. These are the spirits of young women who died in or near a body of water. They appear as beautiful girls with long green hair and fishtails. Rusalkas are often portrayed as dangerous, luring men to a watery grave.
Asian cultures have their own mermaid-like creatures. In Japan, there's the ningyo, a fish-like being with a human face. In the Philippines, there's the sirena, often depicted with a red tail. These variations show how the idea of mermaids has evolved differently across cultures. Section 7. Religious perspectives, divine or demonic. Religious views on mermaids vary widely. In some traditions, they're seen as divine or semi-divine beings. In others, they're considered demonic creatures.
The ancient Babylonians worshipped Ea, a god often depicted as half man, half fish. This shows an early religious connection to mermaid-like beings.
In Christianity, mermaids have a complex status. They're not mentioned in the Bible, but some interpretations see them as symbols of temptation and sin. Medieval churches sometimes included mermaid carvings as warnings against lust. Other Christian traditions view mermaids more positively as symbols of baptism and rebirth.
In Hinduism, the god Vishnu's first avatar was Matsya, a fish man. This divine being saved humanity from a great flood. While not exactly a mermaid, Matsya shows how fish-human hybrids appear in religious mythology.
Islamic folklore includes mentions of sea people called Bint el-Bar. These beings are sometimes described as mermaid-like. However, mainstream Islamic teachings generally don't support belief in such creatures. As with many religions, views can vary among different sects and individual believers. Section 8. Pop culture's influence, modern mermaid mania. In modern times, mermaids have become a huge part of pop culture.
Disney's The Little Mermaid brought these creatures to a whole new audience. The film's success sparked a renewed interest in mermaid stories. Since then, mermaids have appeared in countless books, movies, and TV shows. This pop culture influence has shaped how we think about mermaids.
Many people now picture mermaids as friendly, curious creatures. This is quite different from the dangerous sirens of ancient myths. Modern mermaids are often portrayed as misunderstood outsiders. They long to be part of the human world.
The internet has also fueled mermaid mania. Social media is full of mermaid performers. These people wear realistic tails and perform underwater. Some even offer mermaid swimming classes. This has created a whole subculture of mermaid enthusiasts.
Even pseudo-documentaries have gotten in on the act. In 2012, Animal Planet aired Mermaids: The Body Found. Despite being fiction, many viewers thought it was real. This shows how the line between myth and reality can blur in the digital age. Section 9. Psychological insights, why we believe. The persistent belief in mermaids raises psychological questions. Why do so many people want to believe in these creatures?
Some psychologists suggest it's about our connection to the ocean. The sea is vast and mysterious. It's natural to imagine fantastic creatures living in its depths. Another theory relates to our evolutionary past. Some scientists believe humans went through an aquatic phase in our evolution. This aquatic ape hypothesis is controversial, but it might explain our fascination with mermaids. Perhaps they represent a what-if scenario in human evolution?
There's also the appeal of the other. Mermaids represent a bridge between our world and another. They're human enough to relate to, but different enough to be fascinating. This combination of familiar and exotic is psychologically appealing.
Finally, there's the simple power of storytelling. Humans are natural storytellers. We use stories to make sense of the world. Mermaid tales might be a way of exploring our relationship with the sea. They allow us to imagine life in an alien environment.
Section 10. Environmental connections, ocean conservation. Interestingly, the mermaid myth has found new life in environmental movements.
Many ocean conservation groups use mermaid imagery in their campaigns. The idea is to create an emotional connection between people and the sea. Some activists even dress as mermaids for protests. They draw attention to issues like ocean pollution and overfishing. The mermaid becomes a symbol of the ocean's beauty and vulnerability. It's a powerful way to make people care about marine conservation.
This use of mermaid imagery shows how myths can serve modern purposes. The mermaid legend helps people relate to the ocean on a personal level. It turns abstract environmental issues into something more tangible and emotional.
There's also a growing mermaiding community. These are people who swim in mermaid costumes. Many of them are passionate about ocean conservation. They use their hobby as a platform to educate others about marine life and ocean health.
The enduring mermaid mystery. As we surface from our deep dive into the world of mermaids, what have we learned? Science tells us that mermaids, as half-human, half-fish creatures, almost certainly don't exist. Yet the idea of mermaids continues to captivate us. Perhaps the real value of the mermaid myth lies not in its literal truth, but in what it represents. Mermaids embody our fascination with the unknown depths of the ocean. As long as the oceans hold their mysteries, it seems likely that mermaids will continue to enchant us.